Hi! Welcome to Miasmata playthrough. This is part 1 up to the Vegas Outpost. Your name is Robert Hughes, you have a fever, you've come to this island as a traitor, you're suffering from a plague, a disease from which you will soon die. And the island is home to a research outpost, a conclave of enlightened men searching for a cure. Discover the cure and survive. And that is pretty much all you get. There's a little bit of help as you go along, but you basically start off washed up on this, I don't even know that you can call it a beach, on this muddy bank with some weird looking hands. I've sped it up a little bit and I'll be going between ×2 and ×4 depending on what's going on. Probably mostly ×4 because you walk really slowly. You've got a journal which at the moment just says discover the plague cure. And I'm going to stick to the paths in this first part. I'm not going to venture too far off the beaten track. And I'm playing this entirely blind. I know nothing about it. I've already uploaded a video on how to discover landmarks and stuff, just because that was confusing the nonsense out of me, so I thought I'd push it up there. I suspect there's also going to be secret plants dotted around as well, so I will have look for them and probably upload some videos. But into the first cabin, and there's a note. It's a memo about the cure. And this is it. This is how we make the cure. Really simple, right? We need Agent X, Agent Y, and Agent Z, but that's about all we know about them right now. There's a knife in that dude's back, which indicates there's been some fighting going on, which is strange. This is a laboratory. It allows you to examine plants. There we go. I'm just going to skip the instructions and actually show you how it's done in a second. I say I played it blind. I played it up to the point where I found my first plant and synthesized my first drug, and it took me about an hour to work that out, so I've cut it down. I played it again and it took like 6 minutes, so that was a bit easier. So there is our first plant picked. We found a white violata or something. There's another one around here, but I took a bit of a wrong turning. It is up here. There we go. There's plant number 2. And you can only carry 3 plants and 3 drugs at once. Well, first of all, we're going to examine the plants. You take them over to the examination table, which is not that one. That's the synthesis. Oh, if you switch on lights, you can save the game. You also need lots of fresh water. So you want to drink from jugs and fill your canteen, or drink from streams and stuff. Anyway, you put a plant on the examination tray, then you get a little cutscene where you cut it up, which you can skip, I'll skip later. Stick it under the microscope, have a little look, and get some information about it. And this one allows us to synthesize basic medicine. I'm going to examine the other one as well, put that underneath, and that allows us, combined with a basic medicine, it allows us to synthesize an advanced medicine or an extra strength medicine. So I'm grabbing both plants now, and there's no HUD, you can see. You've got no idea really what's going on. Put them on there, use that, and you'll go through another little cutscene where you kind of grind them up using the pestle and mortar, put them on some weighing thing for some reason, and then make your little pills. And quite how you've made pills with no obvious way to dry them out, I'm not sure, but let's skip that. Anyway, I'm just going to go and grab a couple more of those and stick them on the, not there, oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, making some more. But you can only carry 1 of each type of pill at once, so that was a waste. And then putting them in the storage tray, the specimen storage bin. So that means that at future laboratories they'll be available. It's basically like a storage container or a loot box. Anyway, out of there and continue on up this path. You can't kill the squirrels, unfortunately. And there's another little hut just up ahead. Oh, sorry, just drinking some coffee. Light another torch to save the game, and the first thing we do is find a map of Outpost Draco, or Draco. And this shows you a couple of landmarks nearby. The map is a little bit confusing at best. You've got a compass, and you basically have to triangulate your position. If you've had the map revealed, landmarks by you will be, that's a bed you can sleep at, landmarks by you will be trackable, and I'll show you a little bit of map making later. And map and landmarking is one of the most important things it seems in this game, after obviously finding the cure and winning. Here is how to do mapping. You find 2 landmarks that you know about and take a position on each, and you draw a line which then crosses at your position, and that's the basics of triangulation. You can also spot landmarks you don't know about, and I'll show you an example of that in a second too, but you basically take a line on it from 2 different directions. There's lots of these statue heads scattered around. They qualify as known landmarks, and you'll see here when I get 2 known landmarks, 2 known landmarks. That triangulates my position and shows me exactly where on the map I am. And that's the only way to find out where you are. It's very frustrating, and if you're deep in foliage or kind of under tree bushes or whatever, you're going to have a hard time. Water's also pretty lethal. You can't swim for very far because of your fever, and you will drown and get washed up. You also can't fall very far, and if you fall or drown, you'll drop everything you were carrying, which includes plants, which sucks. And I think also the pills, although I never actually checked. Anyway, I'm trying to triangulate here, so I use that house there, and then the statue head here to get my position. And then I'm just going to tag the first points on a bunch of landmarks. So there's a funny little hut over there somewhere, there, like a tent or something. There's the statue in the distance there on the island, so that's tagged. And then I don't know if I get the one around to the left that I just saw there, that statue head, so tagging that as well. So I'll need to get all 3 of those from a different location to get them actually marked on the map. So running around here, I'm still within the map, and there's a hut there which has got some information in it. We'll go in and have a look in a minute. But first of all, it's about triangulating our location. So use the hut as one mark, the statue head as another, and then we're going to tag that little hut wherever it is out there, and you'll see now I get a dot on the map, and when I zoom in, that's a landmark I can use for future reference. And then coming around here so I can get a line on that distant island statue, again with the tagging, speeding this up. That's where I am, tag the statue, and now we get a line there that shows where that statue is. And I'm also going to tag these as well. One of them is now on the map, and the other one is not. But here is another map of a swamp trail. And this is where we need to continue down. There's a hut on the way, and a few landmarks that I can use for points of reference. But you can see that hut there is probably where I need to head to. So at the moment it's pretty straightforward. There are just some trails to follow, and there's some lovely photographs. Pentagraph directing the construction outpost. Directing the construction of the outpost. And this is a mouse and keyboard game, and I prefer to play with gamepad, so I apologise, I faff up and push the wrong buttons all the time. But lit that fire to save, and then carry on up here. So along up this path, tagging landmarks again, sorry. Just trying to get a point of reference here, and I actually think that I haven't moved enough to tag that. You see it's still a question mark, so you've actually got to get a decent angle on landmarks, or 2 good angles to be able to triangulate it effectively. It's not enough just to get a bit closer, or even a lot closer. You've got to actually get around to the side. Anyway, here is a little, I'm not sure what these things are, sort of stoves, fires. Oof. You can put a fire in them anyway, there's usually logs by them, and it allows you to save your game. You will get thirsty from time to time, so you have a canteen with you and you need to drink from that, but then carry on up along this trail and just having a look around. And the problem is, once you get deep into the underbrush like this, there are very few landmarks. So it's not only is it hard if you get lost and you're off the map, there's some fungus, not only is it hard if you get off the map and get lost because there are no landmarks to cross-reference yourself by, but you haven't really got anything. So I'm making an effort to stick to the paths initially, and my sense of direction's pretty appalling. My 3D spatial awareness even worse. There's an axe in someone's back, so again there's been a bit of a struggle. It seems here I can swap an apple for a axe, and it's weird because even though you don't need to eat, you seem to need to drink. So there's food scattered around, but I can't really do much with it. Anyway, there's a tent here, and the tents tend to just have examination trays and storage trays. So I'm putting the storage there, and there's another note here, which is a letter that talks about the first part of the solution to the cure. And it's got another map in it. So I'm sleeping now, and it's nighttime, so I sleep twice to get it to day, because there's obscure mentions or references to a creature in some of these notes. And I really don't want to find this creature, so I'm coming out now at 6 AM. And trying to triangulate here, but there's only that statue head that I can use as a reference point, you see. So because I haven't got 2 landmarks, I can't actually identify or even tag for the first time that statue in the distance. So I'm trying to get to a high point to tag another landmark, but I can't really find one. And it's kind of frustrating, but also somewhat interesting. There is a red and yellow hibiscus there, but that turns out to be pretty useless. And I thought this might be a landmark, but it's not. It's just some ruins, and there is a white spiked flower. And that's another new plant. And then around here on the left I find some purple ones which I didn't recognise from earlier, but they are the second ones that you combine with the basic medicine to make extra strength medicine. And then up here I come up on a couple of huts. And in these huts there are some mushrooms you'll see in here, and these turn out to be poisonous mushrooms. I find some a bit later, but I'm already carrying 3 plants, so I can't pick up another. And I'm trying to triangulate here to reveal the map, and you'll see if you triangulate 2 points that you know about, you will reveal a little bit more of the map around you if you're in an area you don't know. So I carry on up here because I'm trying to get a bead on that location. And when you climb up stuff, you climb really slowly, which is kind of cool because you're struggling to get up. But here, trying to get a bead on that statue head up there, I figure that's a good one to have because it's super high up. And there's another little thing there, but nothing much else to tag. So just getting my bearings with the compass and checking the time. And then round here, see, you slide down hills, and then I dropped off there and fell, which is kind of annoying. And you drop everything. Fortunately, the plants are there, they're blowing away in the wind, and I managed to chase them down and grab them, but it's awfully fiddly because you don't even have a reticule of where you should be aiming. Anyway, grab all 3 plants back. I probably didn't need the purple one after all that, but it doesn't really matter. And just following the trail around to Outpost Omega, and when you fall or drown, you tend to get a fever, so I had to take my pills to cure the fever. And I've just tagged that statue head as well. There we go, heading around here and examining my new stuff. This one will make me a basic medicine. That's a white one, the white spiked flower. And this one, the red and yellow hibiscus, is not useful at all. So I'm going to put these 2 on the storage tray for the next laboratory that I get to and just leave that behind after saving. And also take a drink because I'm getting thirsty. And now it is time to head off and follow the path on a bit more. Here's the map. I get lost very easily, but that's roughly where I am. So head up to this trail, over this path. And I come to another little tent with some notes on it. And that reminds me that I saw some notes in the previous place that I forgot to pick up. So I've just sped this up while I double back here to grab the note, which turns out to be a note from Hubert. Here we go. A journal entry from Hubert, and it's just sort of a rambling nonsense. There's nothing really useful in there. Same as the last one. The last one I scanned very quickly, but it didn't appear to contain any useful information. So I'm just going to speed it up while I get back to where I was, and then we'll carry on at times 4. Light that fire to save the game. There we go. It's a little bit fiddly again, but carry on up here. And what you haven't seen is all the cuts where I got lost off the beaten track and then got completely turned around. And one time I was stuck out at night with no idea where I was. Obviously you can't see a thing at night. But carrying on along here, I thought that might be a plant on the bark, but it's not. And then in the distance here is a statue, but I don't have 2 landmarks to trigger it by, but this is Outpost Vega. And finally we make it to somewhere useful after all that kind of wilderness running. So I'm triangulating the house and the fire thing to get the first point on the statue, because I'm figuring those things that are quite far out are probably going to be useful when I'm on the coast. Have some water and refill my canteen, that's obviously very important. And then there are lots of notes around. This is a note about island medicines, and it seems that drugs permanently increase various stats. Tonics temporarily increase them, as do stimulants, and basic medicine eliminates a fever. And if you have a look at the journal, you'll see you've got some basic stats like strength and mental agility, so it looks like you can upgrade those by crafting them. But I'm guessing the plants are going to be super rare and off the beaten track. But now I finally got to a laboratory. You can see my specimen storage bin has got all the stuff that I found. So the first thing to make is an energy stimulant, or mental stimulant, sorry. So I'm going to grab those yellow pills and save them for later. It talks about being able to see what the creature's doing. And even though I haven't met the creature yet, I'm slightly terrified of its implied threat. So I want to be prepared for it. And then I've made another extra strength medicine, and I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last time where I make 2 and only 1 goes. So I'm going to grab one of those and then just use the original plant to make a regular strength medicine, so that I've got 2 just in case I get terribly lost again. And then there's some notes here on the endurance emphasis drug, and it's quite interesting. It shows you what the plants look like. So now I know I'm looking for sort of lotus flower and a bluish mushroom. And then this is where I am heading next. That's the map that I found earlier. So I'm trying to work out what I need to do. But there's a couple more houses around here. So I figure I'll head around and have a look at them, and then go from there and see what's what. So around here it started raining. But heading this way, and there are some plants. They're the ones that make the basic energy mix, or the basic medical medicine basic medicine. And then there's this strange hut here on the right, but also a fern there. So I need to go and analyse that in a minute. But this is, I guess this is Hubert's place, because it's got some crazy paintings and he appeared to be losing it. But here is where the bioluminescent algae is, which is the first part of our cure. And that's down there by ruin site B. And I need to go there at night, which is probably not a good thing, so I'm going to need to find a torch to take as well. And I'm not sure how long torches burn for, but hopefully there's a house nearby that I can rest in, and it won't be too scary. Anyway, there's not much else to do in there, so I am heading back to check this plant out. I tried to get a new bead on that, but I haven't taken a big enough angle to get it. And there's a little plant up there, a buttercup I think, and then I figured since I'm heading back anyway, I may as well grab one of those. And put it in there, examine it, and the red and green tree fungus makes energy stimulants. So that's quite interesting. The other one's mental stimulants, so fungus are good for stimulants. This one combined with a regular herb will make an extra strength medicine, so the red pills. But I don't have any of the ingredients that I need yet, so I'm just going to put everything in the storage tray and carry on. And so I headed back this way, and I was going to have a little explore, because there's another hut marked on the map, but I couldn't quite work out how to get to it. So I saved the game, and then I just went for a little walk to go and try and find it. And without much luck, but I stumbled across these red poisonous mushrooms, which is how I knew what they were. They're just up here. So I grabbed one of those, and I was going to go and investigate to see what properties, if any, that had, but then I fell off a cliff, because you don't stop immediately. So I fell down here and died and dropped everything. Well, didn't die, but dropped everything and just thought, ugh. Anyway, that is your lot for now. I will see you in the next one. Lots of love. Bye!